guess I want to start with you're going to Grace Harbor POD, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just one of those opportunities you just can't pass up.
Absolutely.
Just
So, I think that as I've worked in different jobs, I think that I've always been interested in PUDs in the sense that it's fee for service as opposed to reliant on tax revenue. So I think that from an administrative standpoint, those organizations are sometimes easier. I also think that providing an essential service of both power and telecommunications, the scope of those services is very clear, as opposed to the county, where it is pretty broad.
so when you came to Mason County, what 3.5, almost 4 years ago, you hadn't really had this administrator type of experience. What was the transition from your previous experience to Mason County?
My previous experience was that I really relied on for the Mason County job was when I was at Thurston County.
Okay.
And so at Thurston County, I really grew up through the finance department, was the financial manager, and then appointed by the Thurston County Commissioners to be the Director of Central Services. And Central Services at Thurston County was unique in the sense at that time it had a role of budget development, all the capital construction, as well as IT, facilities, and I think that there was custodial contracts that went in with that too. But I worked really closely with the county manager at Thurston County. And so I really got to see how he managed the county as an organization. And being the director of central services, you really touched all of those individual departments, right? Because you're providing them with IT and network and all the other services associated with the facilities that we operated out of. And when we needed to build new facilities, you're involved in that capital construction process. And so I really got a taste of the breadth of services that counties provide. And so when I came here, I think I relied on that. Probably most of the experience that I relied on came from Thurston County.
So you settle into the job, and what was the biggest challenge when you took the seat?
Well, I think that the biggest challenge is that the county didn't have a county administrator before, or didn't have an official position of county administrator. At least it hadn't had one for a while, is what I understood. And so I think that the biggest challenges was really defining what the commissioners wanted this position to have the responsibility of doing. Establishing relationships with all the departments and offices and separately elected officials. To ensure that I met all of their expectations, right? So now we have a new county administrator. What are those expectations, and how can I make sure that I actually follow through and meet the expectations, not only of the commissioners, but also the staff and directors and separately elected.
Do you feel that you accomplished that in your time?
I like to think that I did.
Okay.
I really feel like I've had a really good, positive relationship with all of the staff and the commissioners, and I think I've worked hard to represent the views of the 3 individual commissioners and ensure that they were provided with the information that they needed to make informed decisions. And it's always nice and easy when they all 3 agree and we move forward on things, but sometimes that doesn't always occur. And so making sure that those individuals had the information that they needed to make an informed decision was the job or role that I feel like I did follow through on.
What was your biggest accomplishment?
Oh, biggest accomplishment, wow. I think that the biggest accomplishment was really kind of setting some standards for this position in terms of how does it operate, right? And what role does it play? So really defining, kind of breaking ground to define the role of county administrator. I think that the commissioners now have a taste of what a county commissioner can provide and what they should, or a county administrator should provide. Thank you. Yeah. And so that is, I think I'm most proud that me and the team that I worked with was able to meet those expectations of the commissioners. When we have a number of projects, it's hard to pick one to say, hey, this is
Right.
this is the best one that we did. I feel like we did accomplish a lot. So yeah.
Is there something that you started working on that you can't quite get through in the couple days you have left?
A ton.
A ton. Okay.
Yeah, no, I've got so just off the top of my head, I'm documenting all of this so that I can sit down with the individual that's going to be sitting in this position, which it looks like it's going to be Travis Adams, our undersheriff. And so I want to sit down with him and kind of give him an update on here's the different projects that I have outstanding and where I'm at on them. So I have a feasibility study for the Mason Lake campground that we're kind of right in the middle of, and that I would have loved to see that through to the end. Definitely interested in what the contractor and their team comes back with in terms of opportunity, because it's really a unique opportunity for Mason County to do that. I think that there is a number of contracts out there that I'd love to see finished up and wrapped up, although those reoccurring, right? We have 15 different unions within the county, so you tend to have those contracts coming up annually, at least a couple of them annually. And sometimes are a challenge to get through them, but I feel like we've really established a strong approach to how the county addresses union contracts and defined our comparable counties, really looked at it from an individual position perspective and not just broadly applied percentages to something to throw a solution at it. And that's really allowed Mason County to establish salaries that are respective to those individual positions to ensure that they actually are in line with our comparable counties and what they pay. So I feel like we've really done a lot of work there to establish those ground rules, and the relationships with the unions seems to be positive in the sense that we all operate on the same ground rules and kind of understand how we approach the negotiation side of things. And gosh, what else do I have outstanding? I've actually accomplished, like, building 10, which is our district court building, is just getting wrapped up, so perfect timing for that. They moved into the building. They're going to be having an open house, and I can kind of tie a bow on it and have it done, and the next person doesn't have to worry about that capital construction projects, which is nice to have that completed. I think that there's a lot of discussions coming up before the commissioners on utility rates for some of our utilities, which are really important discussions that we need to have in terms of how do we maintain these essential services to these communities and cover the costs associated with them. So yeah, those are things I'd like to see get done, but obviously they're going to be reoccurring and they'll come up all the time. So.
But you'll be watching from a distance now.
I'll be watching from a distance now. Absolutely. I've told the commissioners that I'll be available. The new employer has also stated that they understand the impact of a position like this leaving, and so they've afforded me the opportunity to meet with the individual replacing me for however much time as they need, and so I'll be available for Travis.
Well, my last question. What will you miss most about Mason County?
The people.
100%.
100%. Yeah, you've got some civil servants here that do an amazing job with the resources that they're given. And we have individuals that are truly committed to doing good work. And they work super hard to make sure that they're meeting the needs and serving the citizens of Mason County. So I think that, to me, is feeling like I was a part of that team is... I'm proud of that, and I'm going to miss those individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Mark.
Yeah, not a problem.
You're very busy right now. I'm trying to wrap everything up, and I'm glad that you took some time.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thank you for everything you've done for us. Yeah, you've been an amazing resource for us, and I don't know how we would get this information out to the citizens. Super important, and you do an amazing job and are super flexible in making sure that when we have meetings that are coming up that you get to be present and record those and make them accessible. So thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks.